You don't say ham, you say spam. Spam is real spice. Ham, you don't say ham, you say spam. You don't say ham, you say spam. Spam is real spice. Ham, you don't say ham, you say spam. Spam is real spice.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast, Spam, a journey into Ubiquity. We are Kyle and Christine Kirkmeyer, and we would like to thank you for joining us today for this very special podcast because it is the first podcast in the series, and given the specificity, it's probably going to be the last. So, Spam. You got an intro for me? Because I've got nothing.
I think I can help you out.
All right.
So, we found haiku,
Oh, yes.
spamku,
Yes, thousands.
as it were. Yeah, there were
Thousands.
just tons and tons. We've got a couple of our favorites here. We'll start off with the first one. Jack wants to father, but why eat so much spam, Jack? My spam count is low.
Haha.
Little
Spam.
zinger there.
Spam count, sperm count.
Too much Mountain Dew for Jack. My personal favorite. Spam farts from the can. Then 3 hours later, I fart. Mute pigs speaking twice. It's profound.
Yeah,
Absolutely profound.
that's probably my favorite also.
Yeah. So, moving on from there, what about ingredients? Most people probably have an idea, it's pig, but what else? Let's be more specific.
All right, well, contrary to popular belief, there are really only two main ingredients in Spam. It's not just all of the leftovers at Hormel just kind of shoved into one can. It's 100% pork shoulder and pork rear, and just a couple other fillers and preservatives like salt and sodium nitrate to keep it from going gray. But other than that, it's 100% pig. And
Not nearly as bad as many people think.
yeah, but it's still disgusting.
You are wrong.
I'm not
Just
wrong.
plain wrong.
No, Spam is like having two tongues in your mouth and only swallowing one. And so Spam, as we know it, hasn't always been Spam. It started out as Hormel's spiced ham, and it started out as fresh meat. George Hormel, the father of Hormel, he was not doing so great in the fresh meat business. He was having a hard time distinguishing his meat from all the other meat out there on the market. And so his son, Jay, was like, hey, Dad, let's get into canned meat, canned ham. And so George was like, that's a good idea, son. And so
Why
they
not?
did it, and it turned out to be pretty successful. And part of the reason of its success in sales is because it came out during the Great Depression. And at that time,
Cheap, simple,
yeah, exactly.
sustainable.
Exactly. It was much cheaper than the fresh meat, and it could last for a long time, and it was versatile. People could use it for a lot of different things. And so it just, I guess they kind of got lucky. It's a terrible thing to say.
Oh, yeah.
Lucky for it coming out during the Depression, but it is what it is. And that's part of the reason why it had such a successful beginning.
Makes
And
sense.
So, yeah. You want to talk about how it got its name?
Yeah.
How it became Spam as we know it, and not just spiced Hormel ham?
Right, yeah. So in 1937, Jay Hormel, son of the founder, had a big New Year's Eve party with celebrities and famous folk, and he had something of a contest, you could say, where you get a free drink for every name idea that you throw into the hat. And so, bad names came and went, but
After the first or second drink, the suggestions were kind of lame, but
they loosened up come round 4 or 5, and Kenneth, he's a Broadway actor, right?
Kenneth Dagnew.
Dagnow. There's a D and some other letters. Kenny D.
Kenny D. There we go.
Not related to Kenny G,
No.
but Kenny D. He just all of a sudden said spam.
Yeah.
Call it spam. It's spiced ham
Spam.
in a can.
Yeah.
Spam.
That's how I imagine it happening.
Spiced ham.
Spam.
Fist in the air, shaking,
Call
and
it spam.
spilling booze all over the place, more than likely.
And so Jay Hormel loved it. He's like, that's it. That's the one. And as you know it, that name has stuck for 75 years, actually.
That's right.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, this
right?
year is the 75th anniversary of Spam. Congratulations, Spam.
Quite the journey.
Yeah. And they're also celebrating their 7 billionth can sold.
Oh, mama.
So much Spam.
Talk about Spam a lot. So middle of the Great Depression, Spam is there. It is good for cheap, sustainable food source. It's easy. It's convenient. It also played a big part in World War II, didn't it? And kind of the ending of the Depression.
Yes.
What's that about?
So, as most of you probably know or have heard, World War II is what pulled America out of the Great Depression, and it's also what helped kind of give Spam the popularity and ubiquity that it has today. It's why Spam is everywhere, all around the world. It's because of World War II. And so what happened was, in 1941, America was still technically neutral in the war for most of it, until, of course, December 7th, 1941, when Pearl Harbor happened and we were officially pulled into the war.
December 7th, 1941, the day Pearl Harbor was attacked.
That's good. That's good FDR.
Yeah, well.
And so, anyway, so before that, for most of the year, we were neutral. And in March of 1941, FDR passed a law called the Lend-Lease Act. And basically what that allowed for was for America to send supplies and food and weapons and just all sorts of good stuff to any countries fighting the Axis powers. And so, I mean, that effectively ended our neutrality, but, I mean, we weren't technically fighting, so... Yet. And so, as a part of the food and supplies that we sent over, what do you think we sent over?
Spam.
Spam.
Yes.
And not just a little bit of Spam.
Lots of Spam.
Lots of Spam. 100 million pounds of Spam we sent over.
Put that in my kitchen.
And so we sent it to the troops, to the soldiers, and we also sent it to restaurants. It wasn't just the soldiers who needed the food, but also restaurants. And so it started to become a staple in restaurants, and it was just everywhere. Pretty much where there is food rationing in Europe, there was Spam. And also when America did officially enter the war, the soldiers brought Spam with them. And so it was the perfect wartime food because it was cheap, it was versatile, it was delicious. It could keep for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was portable. You could just take it, put it in the backpacks, and go fight them Nazis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so it was everywhere. It was absolutely everywhere. And so when the war ended, American soldiers, of course, were sick of it, but then they started to miss it. It was like Helsinki syndrome, where they missed their kidnap.
I don't know about that. Helsinki syndrome. Is that the one where you forget the name of the syndrome?
Isn't that what it's called? Helsinki?
Pretty sure that's Stockholm. You're looking for Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, Stockholm. Anyway, so it's like they missed Spam, like it was their kidnappers. In Stockholm syndrome, you miss your kidnappers instead of kidnappers. It was Spam.
And Spam does have a tendency to capture one's heart.
Oh, you're just a big softie for Spam. And so, yeah, the war ended. American soldiers are missing their Spam. And also, J. Hormel, during this time, saw this as a great marketing opportunity. And so do you want to talk about kind of why, or how Spam was marketed post-war?
Yeah. I think he associated Spam, used everyone else's association with Spam as a victory thing. Mm-hmm. Spam equals victory. Spam got us out of the Depression. Spam
won the war.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Khrushchev.
Yeah. Nikita Khrushchev, the leader of the Soviet army, he's quoted as saying, Spam won the war for us because it fed his soldiers, and that's what kept them going. And so there's a really intimate relationship between Spam and victory at the time in these people's minds. They see it as something that won the war.
Absolutely.
And so, not just in America has Spam remained popular, but it's remained popular all around the world. Specifically in Britain, it's still very popular there. They love Spam fritters. It's basically just deep fried and breaded Spam. And also there, they made a musical about it, and it's in their Monty Python sketches, and also it's still really popular in the Pacific and places like Hawaii and Guam, and they really love their Spam musubi. It's basically Spam sushi, so much so that people in fact have written songs about it. And I do believe that we have a little something special for you lined up, a little song written about Spam Musubi, a little clip for it. And so, yeah, I think we should play it for the good people. Alfred?
Up in the morning, there's only one thing on my mind. No time for girls, no time for boobies. All I want now is a Spam Musubi. I don't think you understand. I need the stuff in the pretty blue can. Now pretty, I'm a simple man. All I want is Spam.
And there you have it.
Spam Musubi.
Spam Musubi.
Booyah.
Thank you to those lovely Asian gentlemen for that nifty little song about
Enlightening.
Spam. Enlightening song about Spam and their relationship.
So more on Spam and pop culture and everything. Even though America might not always be an economic leader globally, we have always had, the forefront of our pop culture it's been very widespread. Just across the pond, all the way to way across the other pond, I guess, from UK to Tokyo. But Spam has been a part of that. It's not just a food, it's become an iconic thing.
Absolutely.
You don't see music written, you don't see haiku, poetry, literature, or anything about, Nutter Butter. Or you don't see sketches and musicals written in tribute to, Hershey's chocolate. Even.
Right.
I mean, that's a pretty big name, but no one comes close to Spam.
Right. It's just not. There's really no other food brand that is ubiquitous and kind of cheeky and fun to parody as Spam. And I think we've talked about it enough, so we should show the good people a clip of Spam, the Spam sketch in Monty Python, which is what started the whole Spam-A-Lot musical. And so we will show it for you right now. Alfred?
Morning. Morning. What you got then?
Well, there's egg and bacon, egg, sausage and bacon, egg and spam, egg, bacon and spam, egg, bacon, sausage and spam, spam, bacon, sausage and spam, spam, egg, spam, bacon and spam, spam, egg and spam, spam, baked beans, spam and spam. Oh, lobster thermidor, crevettes with Mornay sauce, garnished with truffle pate brandy and a pie head on top and spam.
Have you got anything without spam in it?
Well, spam, egg, sausage and spam. There's not got much spam in it.
I don't want any spam. Why can't you have egg, bacon, spam and sausage?
That's got spam in it.
Not as much as spam, egg, sausage and spam.
Look, could I have egg, bacon, spam and sausage without the spam? Ugh. What do you mean? I don't like spam.
And there you have it, Spam.
Spam.
That's what started the Spam-A-Lot musical. It has, 3 Tonys?
Yeah, it's won 3 Tonys.
It's impressive how big this stuff has gotten.
And a fun little fact about the Spam sketch is, from that sketch is how Spam Mail got its name. Because
that's right.
as you can see in the dialogue, Spam just completely took over the conversation and just therefore kind of rendered it meaningless and just overwhelming. And much like Spam Mail takes over our inboxes and kind of the mail itself is really meaningless and useless. And so
He's looking at you, Nigeria.
And so that's the origins of Spam Mail, is from that sketch. So yeah, I think that's about all we have for you today on Spam and how it got to be the global pop culture icon that it is.
Yeah.
All right, so there you have it. If you are planning on joining us next week, you probably shouldn't because we've pretty much covered it as far as Spam goes. And this is now the last in the series of Spam, A Journey into Ubiquity.
Hey, one more time? Yep. I said S-P-A-M. It's all I want in the morning and the evening. ladies and gentlemen.
The other day I was walking down the street, didn't know what to do, didn't know what for eat, so I went to my boy Victor Kim. He said, "Oh, don't eat no bread, just eat